Let us begin.
Hey, I'm Ayoka.
Hello. I'm Shockpaw, sporting some orange today.
His favorite.
And she's gone 80s with her style.
Yeah. Alright, so this is actually more of kind of an update of what's going on with those video.
Well, I think this will be the first in the series.
Yeah.
This is a short series, and it's a wonderful story. I hope you guys are ready for this.
Alright, so it started when I was born.
Long ago, when it was prospered long away. I don't know what.
Yeah.
In Michigan.
Yes. So basically, I was born with ears that were weird and didn't quite, they weren't quite right, basically. My eardrums didn't solidify as soon as they were supposed to.
Yeah.
And I had a hole in my left eardrum. Oh, he's turning the fan off, so the ambient noises.
Yeah, we can't have ambient noise. It's fundamental video recording 101. No background noise. Unless it's like super quiet. It's good.
Anyway, and so my hearing went down little by little. Doctors couldn't figure out why. And then when I was about 18, the first of my 3 surgeries to graft over my eardrum so that I wouldn't die from an ear infection happened. Yeah. That was actually well, it was actually a possibility. I just had an ear that for about 5 years or so did not feel like it was attached during the winter. It was really cold.
And the fact that you probably just, couldn't go swimming. Well, if you could, but you could never go below water.
Yeah. Because it was too likely that I would get an ear infection in either ear. So, but it seems that since I've become an adult, that ear infections have pretty much been nil, which is great. Because the doctor checked for that today. Speaking of which, Shockpaw has been my emotional support woofer for the last couple of doctor's appointments, which started about 2 weeks ago, right?
Right. You started with the initial, which was what is involved.
Okay, so actually a couple months ago, or a month and a half ago, I actually went to a doctor about my ears. They said, oh, well, the problem in your right ear is basically actually your jaw, not your ear at all. So that was cool. But then I also went to see an audiologist about a week or so later to get the testing done to see what could be done about the left ear.
How long has it been since you've been able to even hear out of that ear?
Well, at least since I was 25, so it's at least 20 years now that I have not really been able to hear out of my left ear because the surgeries to graft over the eardrum actually made my hearing go down again a little bit at a time. So
my ears itch. We're talking about ears.
So yeah, that's kind of what happened. And so I saw the audiologist, and a little rigmarole with that, but all in all, basically there were some possibilities that I could do. There were hearing aid possibilities and, strangely, surgery possibilities. So I had to find a different ear, nose, throat specialist, unfortunately, that was actually in my network for insurance. But to find out what the surgical possibilities were. And that's the appointment we went to 2 weeks ago.
It was kind of a simple affair. Going to the office with her. I wasn't exactly sure what was going to take place or what I was going to be told. but I was there to support her, and it's my solemn duty, you know, that kind of thing, to do that. And being your loved one, fiance at this point, and just being there for you, I've had to be there through thick and thin, and all the hardships you've had with not being able to hear out of one ear, sign language you from afar, you know, that kind of thing.
And he's the only one so far. Now, he still has problems going on this side when I can't hear out of here, but he's the only one who doesn't go over here and expect me to know where he is. Because I don't.
I'm not an idiot. So, we went into the doctor, and the doctor basically
said you have 2.5 options.
The first option was
the hearing aid, right?
The hearing aid, which, you know, you hook it on, and usually goes into the higher pitch range, squeals a lot, especially if you don't get the frequencies right.
Well, he said it'll just make things louder and
fairly uncomfortable.
Because basically it would be a standard. That's all that's covered by insurance. So, yeah.
Then the second option, which was deep constructive surgery, which means they reconstruct the bone structure inside the eardrum and rebuild the whole region piece by piece, which would take
about a couple hours. The insurance would cover it, so no biggie there.
And the problems with that was mass distortion. You'd be disoriented for a very long time.
Yeah, and it might make my balance worse, and I already have bad balance.
Because you can only hear more or less out of one ear, so your balance is bad anyway. And the surgery the repair from that surgery, the waiting time would be a couple weeks to a couple months for recovery.
Oh, no. He said it was about the same time recovery time as this would be, but
to include the reorientation and all that.
But I would probably have worse balance, and the hearing possibility was actually only 70 to 80% rather than the 100% that this second surgery option would give me.
No, it wasn't 78. It was about 30 to 40% for the reconstruction.
No, he said 70 to 80%.
Well,
but this was like pretty much 100.
All right, now since you guys are kind of confused at this point, I can hear it through your texting. What is he talking about?
Then there was a second option, which is the second surgery option, is an implant.
Now, the old versions of this is called a cochlear implant.
The cochlear implant, yeah.
Which is basically they drill into the skull, connect directly to the nerves in the cochlea itself, behind the drum and behind the bones, in the ear canal chamber, and hook you in, basically. And then you have this big old device on the back of your head. Now, that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have...
The cochlear implants, you know, are smaller. They look more like a hearing aid now. But, this is going to be a little, like, circular device.
About the size of a $50.
Yeah. That's going to go right to my head with a magnet.
Yeah. To kind of explain, basically they'd peel back the skin in a J shape.
Yeah.
And then they would put a mount in the thicker part of the skull, behind the ear. Part of the bone. Right, behind the ear and up and behind. And it would be basically a mount with a specialized safe magnet point on it. And then they would reattach the skin, seal it all up, and then that part, it vibrates the thick bone which connects to with cochlea inside the ear.
Yeah, basically, since the eardrum part of my ear is actually working, I'm not really a viable candidate for the cochlear implant. But Cochlear does, the company, make this implant, which is called the Osea. And it works a little differently. It works by vibrating the bone. And bypasses the
eardrum and the bone structure.
Well, no, it bypasses the ear canal.
So,
because the ear
canal around to get to where it needs to be, basically. And they gave her the implant demo, which is what this is. And I am going to bring the camera up so you can see what I'm talking about here. This is the demo unit, and it's connected to her bone back here. And if I get too close, it will feedback. Sorry, just kind of pointing that out. But this particular device is called a what?
It is known as the Baha, which caused some confusion for us for a moment.
We've had a fun conversation with this. The entire staff at the hearing, nose, and throat place called all of their implants Baha.
Yeah, because it is a kind of bone-anchored hearing aid. That's what it is. But there is the actual Baha device. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it actually sits more in the front. And
on top of the ear.
Yeah, kind of more in front and on top. And is a little bit different compared to the Osea in what is available for it.
Now, the Osea and the Baha are more or less mounted in the same location.
Well, no. The Baha is a little more forward.
Yeah, the Baha is a little more forward. That's what this guy is.
No, this is...
Is it the other one I'm thinking?
Okay, so this is the Baha, but she put it where the Osea will be.
Okay. That's where I'm confused.
Okay.
So, this stage of the process is basically you're given the updates, and they go into the computer, and they fill in a whole bunch of information, and program the device.
Yeah.
And put in the basic mounting. That's the first stage. And then they move on to letting you get used to it. It takes about a week.
So, when we say the basic mounting, this is just a headband. This is they've got a little thing where it can pop out. So I'm going to
turn it off and pull
bear
it
with
out.
me, guys. This is going to make some noise. There we go.
Sounds like angry bees.
Okay. So you see, I popped it off, and the way you turn it off is to literally undo the battery door.
No on-off switch. You just pop it out.
You just undo the battery door.
Which is kind of cool. And it has a little locking point right there. So you only have to undo the door.
Yeah.
And then
basically this clips into
the mount.
The little mounting area here.
You want some help? Or you want to just go ahead?
I'm going to try to feel it because I'm going to have to do this by myself eventually.
That's true. I'm not going to be here all the time. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. There it goes. And then when you're turning it back on, you click the door shut. And it'll make a dinging noise.
Dings and boots up.
Yeah.
And the cost of difference between the two... This one comes with its own little battery. Let me grab that other one.
Yeah.
What's this unit?
Okay, so this is just kind of like a little watch battery, really.
It basically is. I think they called it the 297 or something like that. It's a super tiny little battery. And it won't activate it until you pull the little plastic base off the back. But yeah, and this is for...
Now, they gave me an extra just in case, but the Baha unit has a battery life of pretty much 5 to 7 days.
That's pretty sweet.
And that's pretty much constant day use.
However, the unit that you're going for...
the batteries are the big old honking ones.
The larger watch battery is twice the size of this one. It only lasts 2 days in continuous use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's got more options. It's higher range technology.
I don't know, but
we're not sure.
But anyway.
What were some of the awesome perks that come with that thing, though?
Okay, the awesome perks that you get with that one compared to the one that I'm demoing right now, you get a waterproof cover.
She can go swimming.
Well, not at first. But what would be really nice is that I can go be in the shower and still hear if somebody needs me, you know, from outside the shower, or, well, let's be honest, couples take showers together. We're not going to go into anything further than that. But I'll be able to hear him in the shower. So that'll be nice.
It's been fun because I've been used to being on this side forever. Hence why we sit this way on every one of our videos. But I got the chance to actually go into orbit and go around to the dark side of her ears. And I got to whisper sweet nothings in her ear today.
For the very first time, I was able to actually understand what he was saying. Yeah.
When the doctor told you what was going to happen a week ago, you were in tears over what your possible choices were because of how wonderful it was.
2 weeks ago, when he told me what my choices were, and the fact that I was going to be able to hear again at all was so overwhelming. I literally burst into tears. The doctor, it fazed him not at all.
I mean, the doctor's, you know, she hasn't heard nothing for 20 years, and then he's telling her, oh yeah, with this device you'll have between 88 and 90% return of your hearing.
Well, no, not that much, but it will basically make it almost to where my right ear is, which, yeah.
And then it's just a little tweaking to balance it so that it's about right. That way your balance returns. And one thing you were mentioning today during the demo is things were not so foggy anymore.
Yeah, strangely enough, I don't feel as much in a fog now that I can hear a little bit out of this ear.
You know that kind of feeling when you're waking up,
like for the last,
and you got that I'm tired, I needed a cup of coffee, bad kind of feeling. Yeah, it's like that all the time for her.
Yeah, all the time, and I have so many problems remembering the word I want. I have not had that problem nearly as much today.
Yeah. We've been just kind of experimenting with it.
I just find it very interesting that I haven't had that problem. Oh, one of the other perks of the Osea that the Baja does not get, because here's the fun thing. Both of them are technically made to integrate with the iPhone, which I don't have. I have an Android. And I like my Android. Users. I like my Android. I don't want an iPhone. I'm very happy.
We're not sponsored, so just pointing that out.
But I'm very happy with my Android phone. The only reason I would change to an iPhone is for picture reasons, for photo reasons. But I like my Android. It's been good to me. So, that being the case, though, only the Osea has a free adapter option, basically, that you can clip to your shirt or whatever, and it'll work with your phone so that you can take calls via your
so whatever pumps through your phone calls,
music,
videos from friends, music, instant messaging, $4.95 special, you name it, it will pop in directly into her implant, and she'll be able to hear it crystal clear.
And
which is really cool if you think about it.
The third one about the Osea is, now I don't know if it would work with the Baja as well, but they basically have a hearing aid option for the other ear that would work in tandem with this ear, or with the implant, and up your hearing that much more, basically.
So a balancer, basically. That's real cool. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. Well, because he said it, but he kind of glossed over it at the last appointment. Stop picking at your...
Well, I nudged it, and it didn't. These are still kind of drying on this hand, and I nudged it.
The reason they're still drying is they're very, very thick.
Yeah, I'm doing this all day. I'm a crypt keeper.
But, anyway, so to let you guys see what I'm experiencing, we're going to switch places. And, yeah, this is going to be fun.
Bear with us for just a moment while we shuffle our shuffling stuff. I'm on the dark side of the ear.
Yes, and I can hear it.
Now, while we were getting things tested in the office, getting this hooked in and setting it up, I waited until they were done. I snuck over to the other side of her and whispered sweet nothings in your ear.
And I can hear it.
At barely audible levels, and she was like, oh, and she just broke down crying. It was wonderful.
Well, it got teary-eyed, yes.
You were crying hard.
Not that hard, but yes.
You were giggling and happy.
But I was giggling.
And the 8+ month pregnant woman that was helping us set this up was just going, oh, yeah, it was adorable.
Yeah, she the funny thing is, she was almost as happy for us as she was for herself. I mean, she's only got about 3 weeks to go.
Shout out to her if she ever bumps into this. Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm a father of 2, so good luck.
Yeah. But yeah. So it was knowing that, because they don't know everybody's story, but knowing that I hadn't heard out of that ear pretty much for 20 years, she's like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for you. So, yeah.
And afterwards, I decided to take her on a little picnic to a random tiny park. You're not used to this hand, are you?
No, I'm not.
And just had a nice soft lunch. There were birds chirping in the distance, construction off in the distance, tiny little kids playing in a playground a little ways from us.
Only one.
And she kept going, I just heard that guy stomp on the ground. And this is like 350 feet away.
Well, it was quite a ways. Like, it was off to my right, so that was the weird thing that, you know. But I heard him step on gravel.
The fact is, she heard anything at all is fantastic.
And I could hear the swings or wind chimes, like, creaking. I haven't heard that in ages.
Now, a little later on this afternoon, after she was started by being overwhelmed, because this will happen to anyone that does this with sound, because you're not used to hearing that. You kind of start to get used to it a little bit. And I'm sitting
having you
play at your computer for a few minutes trying a video game you want me to try. You're taking a little nap, and you turned it off, and I tried talking to you, and you're laughing off your head, and ask you why. You're like, I turned it off, and all I could hear is wah, 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 wah.
Yes, and the thing is, he's facing away from me, and I'm like covering this ear, you know, on the pillow. So, with this on, I couldn't hear every word distinctly, but I could make out a few words, you know. And I was basically telling him, oh, that's funny, because when I'm not, I can't, you know, when I don't have this on, all I hear is, and I was just wanting to give myself a moment and relax, so I turned it off, and it was still laying on this ear. And literally, that's what laughing my head off. Because I couldn't understand a word.
You also have all these nice little habits. You will literally turn to someone to hear them because you're used to actually hearing out of your good ear, and you partially can read lips, so that's even better. So you're like, okay, I get it. But now you don't have to because I'm right here and you can hear me.
Yeah, and in fact, you're a little loud.
I will be quieter then. Until you're used to it. Then I can be loud as hell as I want.
Yeah, fair. But here's the interesting thing. We came home from all this. It was actually fairly quiet at the park, even with the construction stuff going on for a little bit. And the one little kid running around and having fun. It was just one. She was adorable.
Tiny.
Yeah, she was a little one. And we got home, and oh my goodness, I realized how loud my roommates are.
Yeah, I even know they're a little on the loud side, but she didn't quite get that until today.
Well, I mean, because when you're half deaf, like, they have to be loud for you to be able to hear them. And apparently they're pretty deaf too, so it's like, yeah, that was fun.
That is one thing I have noticed ever since you started wearing that today.
I've been talking
and
a lot
you
softer.
got all set up. You've been talking softer. You've always talked loud because, you know, you need to hear yourself and you need to make sure everyone hears you. You're just used to it. Now today, you've been fairly quiet.
Yeah,
it's a little refreshing. In a good way.
But also, if I'm not quieter, if I'm louder, it actually hurts my ear. So, I mean, it hurts the left side. So, like, I need to modulate my own voice for my own sake.
Now, the side effects for the start off of this was they would say it will be disorienting at first. It might be painful at first. It could cause disorientation, at least until you get used to it.
Yeah. Well, here's the fun part. My audiologist today, the person setting this up for me, she was telling me stuff and, you know, asking me if I had any questions. I'm like, not really, because, you know, I've been doing some reading, research online and stuff. And she's like, oh. And she gave me the same pamphlet to take home that, like, was given to me 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, I already have this, by the way. She's like, oh, really? Okay. Like, and she was actually really, apparently, happy that I had been doing research on my own, not just the little pamphlet, but like looking stuff up and seeing what was going to happen through these the surgeries, because it's not like you're told all this, you know.
Yeah, if you're going into anything major, or if you're going to do anything major, research it. That goes in anything in life anymore, because you don't know what all the little ins and outs are going to be about. You don't know if there's a strange side effect, especially if it's for the body. If it's for, like, your physical surroundings, like, for example, for 5 years now, it was 5 years ago, I was researching how to build a computer, a new one, and I built myself a monster of a machine, because I'm an enthusiast, so custom build, and over half the technology I had previously learned about didn't exist anymore. So I had to literally relearn all the little ins and outs of the current technology curve. So just like with what's out there, what you would be doing to yourself, and for a corrective issue or repair, do your research.
Now, here's the thing. I'm sure the doctors would be happy, and she would have been happy to answer any questions I had. But sometimes you don't know what questions to ask unless you research. And yeah, believe it or not, I wouldn't have had any idea, to ask the question once there was the issue of, the Baja versus the Osea, because they were using the general term of Baja to mean any bone-anchored hearing aid, which technically the Osea is a kind of bone-anchored hearing aid. But I wouldn't have known to ask the question unless I had not flipped open the pamphlet they gave me, and,
Which is somewhere around here.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know where I put it.
I think you put it up here. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, no, it's over on the table.
Oh, let me get that so we can kind of
give them the general gist of it. Now, the pamphlet, they give this to you to find out stuff, but this is more like a general overview. This is not a we tell you everything, okay?
Yeah, it's got lots of pretty pictures in it with people going, hey, I'm enjoying life. But then at the back of the book, it actually gets to the information.
But they do tell you how the Osea system works right here. And that's what I'm going to be having, is the Osea. But then right on the next page, they have literally the Baja. This is what caused the, and then on this page, this is what the Baja looks like.
It's the kind of little silver triangle-ish shape one?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the one with the actual hearing aid part, the hook in.
Yeah, but the thing is, unless you know that the place is using the basic terminology for any bone-anchored hearing aid, when they say you're getting the Baja, you're thinking you're getting this one, right? When they had told me the Osea. So I thought it was like, did they pull a bait and switch? I don't know. So I had to ask. But, and here is actually basically the trial that I'm going through. This little headband, but it's only got a thing on one side.
Mm-hmm. And there's also the other one there, which is kind of a half halo unit.
Yeah.
Which is meant for both ears. Yeah. So there's that option.
Well, they're showing it as both ears on both of them, but I'm just got it on one side. But yeah. But that's the trial that I'm actually going through, because the Osea doesn't have a demo piece.
Yeah.
So.
And again, we're not sponsored by any of this. We're just wanting to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we're in the trial stage right now, where she's going to wear the mounted implant
for about a week.
And the doctors would then, of course, ask, what's the next step? Do you want to go ahead with it or not? But she already was like, let's do it.
Yeah. The doctor said everything looks good on your CT scan, because they have to do a CT scan.
Scan the head.
Yeah, which is very different from the CT scans I've had before. They've literally been like the big bed, and you go in, and yeah.
If you ever gone to the dentist and ever had a full jaw scan, it's a device that kind of goes, but this one, the one she had, was the full head. So it's a full scan on all sides, so they could get a really good picture of how the bone structure looked, or...
Yeah, how the bone structure worked, basically, if it was the way it should be.
Must be the radiation.
Yeah, he did that to me earlier, too. I appreciate the joke, though.
She's a big fan of Star Trek 4, specifically, because, well, come on, whales, awesomeness, good storytelling.
Yeah, it's the storytelling.
And the jokes. Gotta love the jokes.
You gotta love the jokes. There's so many in there. He did it a little too much LDS.
You're not sure what we're talking about? Go check it out. A good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that's kind of where we are at the moment, and the doctor, I think, expected me to kind of wait until the trial was over and then let him know, because I guess that's what most people do. Some people may change their minds that this is not for them after all, because they're just so used to what it is that it's too much of a change. It doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
Me, however, I am willing to bear with the uncomfortability and the pain that will eventually come from the surgery, and go through it to be hearing on the other side.
Mm-hmm. So to go a little bit more in depth on the actual mounting, if you've ever had a tooth implant, it's basically along the lines of the same method. They kind of grind into the bone itself, and they put in the core implant, mm-hmm. and the mounts and the sensors and all that, and then they close it all up after they put on the magnetic shield, mm-hmm. and then make sure the skin's kind of sewn back together and put away. Then you gotta let it heal for a little bit, and then the implant goes on top.
Or no, that's the actual implant. Then the processor goes on top.
Yeah, and then the processor. Finally, the final step. So it's a lot like actually having a tooth implant, because I've had those.
No, that sounds weird and not pleasant.
Oh no. I will tell you, it is not a very pleasant experience, because here's the dentist holding basically a drill. Hold still. And I was like, and you can hear everything because it vibrates through your whole head. And that's a weird experience, because you can hear it in your ear. You will too now, because you can now hear in both ears, and it'll vibrate through your whole head. And you're like, echo. No, I don't know, but you'll probably be asleep for that part of it.
I hope so, because apparently one person was not put to sleep for it, and I was like, holy cow, why would they not put you to sleep for that? No. But, so, yeah, the next step is just to wait, for the surgery scheduler to, contact me, and then we can schedule the surgery. And once that happens, I'll be out of work for about a week.
Give or take.
Yeah, he said about 5 to 7 days, which is different. Like, I've heard 3 to 5, 5 to 7. It's
2 to 20.
No, so I figured give myself a week off work, we'll be good. And then, strangely enough, the surgery scheduler said that you would then go back at certain levels for going back to work, but she knows more what I do for work than the doctor does at this point. And he basically said, oh, then you can go back with no restrictions. But I actually do some lifting at work, so I'll need to take it easy for a little bit. But we'll let you know more once the surgery has actually taken place.
Yep. So we're doing it in stages. This is the first video in this series.
Sorry it went a little long.
But we were having fun just chatting about it. Yeah. So yeah. You know?
Yeah. And I didn't even have to read his lips.
Cross your fingers, everybody. Let's all hope for the best. Yes, cross the paws. I'm Shockpaw.
Ayoka.
And we'll hear you next time. I can't remember.